When it comes to reliability, the full-size Land Rover Range Rover is one of the worst vehicles. We'll go over everything in today's video. I'll include a link to the Cadillac Provo's website in the description down below. If you have any questions, just ask for Alec. Let's get right into it. Now, the funny thing about the powertrains with the new full-size is they're actually pretty darn reliable. The inline 6 is pretty good, the V8 is good, and even the plug-in hybrid is pretty reliable. And it's kind of crazy, like the engine and transmission options with this vehicle are pretty darn solid. Now you will see some of the stuff around the powertrain have issues, like coolant lines are a good example. I had that issue with my Defender. Land Rover just seems to have problems with that whole setup, but the actual engine and transmission, as long as you do your regular maintenancing on them, they will actually last a very long time. Now, in terms of the best powertrain option, I've kind of gotten mixed reviews from all the people I've talked to about with this new Land Rover. What I've kind of gotten from a bunch of different sources is that the inline 6 itself is pretty good, but it seems to have the most electrical problems, surprisingly. The plug-in hybrid actually seems to be less problematic somehow, which is shocking because most other manufacturers seem to have more issues with their plug-in hybrids, not less. And then the V8 seems to be pretty good, all things considered, and so it's a BMW engine. I mean, you kind of expect that, right? They do not a perfect job, but a pretty good job with their powertrains. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is the engines are actually pretty rock solid with the full size, and when it comes to choosing an engine, well, you kind of just choose the one that you like the most, and understand that when you do have problems with the full size, it's probably not going to be related to something under the hood other than the coolant lines, which they've gone to metal coolant lines with a lot of their new cars, so that might be something that's fixed now with the future product. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would help out with that. If the powertrain is actually pretty reliable with a full size, then why is this a reliability nightmare? Well, let me introduce you to computers. Or should I just say electronics? So for example, this has pop-out door handles. That's kind of a complex system. Power adjustable seats, right? A lot of cars have it. This has memory seats, but you can also get massage seats with these full-size Range Rovers, and some people have reported the massagers just outright failing. Now that's obviously not going to leave you stranded, but some of these full sizes like the SV are well over $200,000, and if you pay over $200,000 for a car, you want to get $200,000 worth of features. So if the feature doesn't work, that's not all that great, and there can be delays with getting new parts to fix that broken feature because it'll probably be broken on other people's cars too. I think you guys can kind of see where this is going. So basically, something will break on your car, it won't actually leave you stranded, but then you feel stupid for paying $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 for a car and not being able to actually use all the features that that car has. And not only that, if you have a larger failure where your car has to sit at the dealership, well, you could be put in a situation that many people are put in where they bought a $200,000 full size and now they're driving a $50,000 Discovery Sport for, you know, a month, maybe 2 months, depending on how back-ordered the part is. And well, again, you're not exactly stranded, but at the same time, you paid all this money for a car that doesn't actually provide what you were hoping it would provide. Now this one's not a crazy loaded up Range Rover full size, which is actually kind of better, more reliable. But you do have fancy features like these multifunction controls. Now I actually haven't heard about failures with these controls per se, but the more electronics you have in a Range Rover, well, the more that stuff can glitch out. Now this is less of a problem now, but it was more of a problem before. There would be glitches with screens, you know, full digital gauge cluster too. So you can imagine this stuff goes out and it's not great because other than a few functions being physical down here, most of those buttons are actually shortcuts to the screen where you control pretty much everything with the car. So if the screen goes out for some reason, you're kind of out of luck with modifying a bunch of different features. And I do need to remind you guys, this one is a used 2023. They've gotten rid of even more physical buttons in the newest version of the full size. Like, I don't think there's even the drive mode select dial like what this one happens to have. If I remember right, like you literally just have the little shifter. I think there's still a volume control and then the stop start. I think they even got rid of the little climate control dials in the newest version. So suffice to say, if the screen fails, then you're kind of out of luck with using a lot of the vehicle functions. Again, you can probably still drive from A to B, probably. I'll go over a reason why that might not be the case in a second. But you kind of can't use all the features in your $100,000, $200,000 plus car. And this kind of leads us to the next thing with all of these fancy electronics in the new Range Rovers. You see, there's going to be overlaps with some of the different systems, and so you can have a case where one system fails that's not necessary for vehicle function, but then it causes the vehicle function system, or a vehicle function system rather, to fail, and then the car gets bricked out, where basically maybe the battery dies. That's what happened to my Defender when the power steering system glitched out. But anyways, there's a lot of electrical stuff that's interconnected, and one system can fail and it can cause another system to fail. Next thing you know, you can't drive your car. And it's kind of crazy that that's the big thing that's crippling these Range Rovers, because it has a lot of other sophisticated equipment. Like I said, the engines on this, they are complicated. Air suspension, that's another complicated system, but that stuff doesn't really seem to have problems. And the hardware in general, it's not perfect on the Range Rovers, but it actually does pretty well. It's all of the software and all of the electronics that's going to cause you issues. So if you're still sold on getting one of these, this one has 35,000 miles, and like I said, this is kind of a more basic build. This is kind of the way to go with the full size. The less features you have, the less there is to go wrong with the car. So let's take this out, drive it, and talk about why you would even want to deal with the potential issues of this vehicle if it has, well, that many potential issues. Just to turn this car on, I had to like put the key in the there's a little space to put the key in, because it couldn't even recognize that I had the key in the car. So yeah, like I said, electronics, they are a struggle for the Range Rovers. And something else that's still a struggle for Range Rovers is the creaking, like the back and the sunroof. And this is the problem, is they all have panoramic sunroofs. Every single Range Rover has panoramic sunroof. Well, not every single one, but pretty much, I mean, that's what I usually see them with, is all panoramic. I think they should consider getting rid of those, especially like the Defender that's kind of more off-road oriented. Because again, then you get creaking within the body. And again, it says 35,000 miles. Our Defender, by 10,000 miles, had plenty of little creaks and stuff. It's not the end of the world, but it's also like, I paid how much for this, and it feels like it's not actually falling apart, but it kind of, I don't know, a little bit concerning. So, super comfortable seats. Super, like this has super thick glass, so really good insulation, and everything feels very nice to the touch. Like the window and just the actuation and everything, it's so smooth, it's so seamless. The engine performance is smooth and seamless. The suspension's incredibly comfortable. Like, this is why people deal with the Range Rover stuff, is because when everything's working, this is such a nice driving experience. Like, I don't think there's really anything else that drives quite as well as a Range Rover. It is so nice, so comfortable. It's truly an amazing experience to drive while it's working. That's the big thing. I mean, this V8, again, BMW is the one who makes it. It's got pretty good fuel economy, and it's got tons of low-end torque, and it's just a smooth powertrain. And when you go over bumps, the suspension soaking it all up. Again, I'm hearing it in the creaking in the back. Range Rover, man. It's like, I had someone say this to me the other week, and so I'm going to use it as an example. Some guys, because we were talking about Jeep Wranglers, because they have reliability issues too. He said he bought a Wrangler because it's kind of like dating the goth chick. It's not a great idea, but it's also the goth chick. So some people understand and some people won't. Ah, man, the power this thing has, it's so good. Well, it works. So here's my advice to people that are looking at the full size. Consider other Land Rover models. I've talked to tons of people, and the consensus I've gotten is that the Sport and the full size are just, they're nightmares to own. Like, when everything works, it's great, but oftentimes things are not going to work. And then you have to decide with either living without the feature or living without the car for quite some time, because everything seems to be on back order with the cars. Now, you can still get a Land Rover. The Defender, I've talked to so many people, the Defender is the best Land Rover to get. It has the best reliability, and it's not quite as comfortable as a full size. It doesn't have quite as much space as a full size, but it is far more reliable. And the thing is, if you go into a Land Rover dealership and just ask the salespeople there, like, I want the most reliable Land Rover, any salesperson worth their salt will tell you Defender in terms of the Land Rover lineup. They won't tell you Disco Sport or Evoque or Velar or full size. Nope, they'll tell you Defender, because that's the one that has proven to be the best. So consider looking at that. And, you know, my advice to Land Rover is, if you're going to build out these complex systems that are going to have fail points quite often, make sure that dealerships are stocked with replacement parts so that people don't, because like, I think that if something broke and then if someone could take it in and then it could be quickly replaced within a day or two, I think that people would not have as bad of an experience. Again, buying a $200,000 car and having to demo a $50,000 car while your $200,000 car is waiting for a new part. And then the other part, I think, is just share more stuff with the dealers. Like, again, this just comes from my personal experience. I had to wait a couple of weeks for my Defender to get back to me, just because the dealership had to wait to receive communication from the manufacturer as to what was wrong with the car, because everything's like locked out and really only the manufacturer understands what's happening. I don't think any other manufacturer really does things quite like, I mean, some of the electric cars, yes, but like other manufacturers let the dealerships have enough information to where a mechanic can figure it out themselves and get the person back on the road. So that's another thing, piece of advice, to just make it so the customer experience is a little bit better. So for those of you watching, buy a Defender. For Land Rover, more replacement parts, make them more readily available, and give dealers more information so that they can just do quick fix, like, okay, this is the issue, boom, here's the fix for it, rather than waiting to hear back from engineers at Land Rover to figure out the issue remotely. Like, it's, yeah. Let me know your thoughts.